Hey, how you doing? Hey, this is Admin again from PlexGuide. Hey, this is just a quick introductory video. So my goal is to start making sub breakdown videos, and this is more for the introduction on the wiki page and probably the new members area for the newcomers right here. So basically, I'm just giving you a quick overview of what our mission statement is, what is it we're doing, and what is it that we're trying to do. So like right now, you can see the PlexGuide mission statement. So basically, we're saying is that it's an all-in-one solution that deploys the media server through the use of Google Drive, serving as an unlimited backend storage. PlexGuide utilizes Ansible and Docker to streamline your media server while deploying multiple tools for your server operations. So basically, you're probably asking, what does that really mean and all? It basically means we have a program to simplify things for you in order for you to move data to your Google Drive, utilize it through your Google Drive, and watch that data wherever you want to choose to watch it from. So PlexGuide was originally built off a Google document. It was well, even prior to that, it was through a TextPad file that I had, and we'll go here to the GitHub page, and let's just show you a little bit of GitHub. So right now you can see we have a lot of commits, and you'll probably see a lot more in the future, a lot of releases, a lot of contributors, and you can see here's our history right here. So basically I was taking a extensive Linux class that was kind of breaking us all off because a lot of the material didn't match a lot of what we're being taught. So basically, what I started learning from Linux is that you need to start documenting everything, because if not, you're going to look up the same codes over and over again, and you won't learn how to piece everything together. So if you're very new to Linux, just trust me, start documenting your stuff, start utilizing scripts that you see out there, manipulate it, learn how to play with it. Here, like I said, purchasing Linux books off Amazon was very helpful, even though I was very resistant to it. We purchased the domain right here in February 2017, and you can check that in the Whois. I mean, so it was originally meant to link the document because it was a pain to share out the Google document all the time with everybody. So next, what we started doing with PlexGuide is we started utilizing Reddit, and there's a lot of great Reddits out there. Plex, who's been great, Data Hoarder, they've been awesome. Plex ACD. So there's several Reddits out there that have really helped us find users like yourself come across. And the reason for it is because this program is built from people who knew very little to teach others. So hopefully we can, make you experts and hopefully contribute all back to the same program. If not, it's all good. But we rather teach. And like I said, this is a hobby project for most of us. And we talk about a lot of old Linux users. So Linux tends to be a very the terminology can get a little frustrating at times trying to understand everything. But the problem I have with here is that most Linux users in some projects, they have very expert programmers or certain people staffed, and they tend to be very cranky, not very helpful, and kind of speak at too high of a level. So what I've learned to do, from my work experience and from all the things that I've learned, is to break things down 101. Sometimes I do talk at a higher level, but I try to pretend that I'm you. So that's why we have these videos, the wiki, we have the forums, and it's not exactly where I want to be, but, we're going to keep making it better. The hardest part was starting to learn about startup programs. And my mistake was using Ubuntu 14. So in Ubuntu 16, which is the one that you see recommended, you'll notice that Ubuntu 16 has ability to do basically it's like startup scripts through systemd. And in it was just a pain because you had to write up a lot of nonsense to get everything working. It works in Ubuntu 16, but learning about the startup process was very key because you could write all the scripts you want all day, but if you can't get it to execute, nothing ever happens. And you can still see to this day, we still have little problems here and there, sometimes with the mounts, but it's because the documentation is very weak. We basically started running through the first emulations through PlexGuide with Docker. Docker was very easy to grasp because the reason is that I utilized ESXi VMware, and I know I'm probably talking at a high level for some people. Some people it's like this is nothing, but basically, long story short, is you could basically run a bunch of pretend virtual machines off one system with ESXi. The problem with ESXi though is that you're limited to 8 cores. And with Docker, you can use unlimited whatever your system has available, Docker will use. So you run into high cost licensing issues with VMware. And the reason you want to utilize Docker is because basically you can deploy programs in a container, and these containers have certain configurations that basically execute programs for you. If the container's bad, you can just delete it and wipe it and just deploy a new one, like literally within seconds. So the good thing about these containers is that you can expose data. So for example, if you have Plex, you can expose it to your real computer. So if you delete the container, right, and you launch a new container with Docker, it's reading the files you had before in the past. So some of you may grasp it, some of you may not. But like I said, as you start utilizing Docker and you start looking at the YMLs, it'll start to make sense. And the thing is, we had a few key projects where Docker came into play, which I started learning. I think it was like Tom's Hardware, something like that. But the man was a smart man, so he really helped out. And then later on, I met Bait from QuickBox, and he kind of noticed that what we were doing for documentation. And he kind of, to be honest with you, he kind of like kickstarted off more of what I was doing, because you get frustrated with all this Linux stuff. So Bait is the man. You know, he just kept kind of playing the Catch-22 guy. Hey, so what about this? What about that? This is what we do. And he really cared about what we were trying to do. In August 2017, basically, I had a PlexGuide document that was basically like 40 or 50 pages long, and that document itself basically contained a lot of steps that you could follow in order to deploy your stuff. The good thing is we had YMLs and things are kind of like in code already written out, but what I didn't understand was the amount of variations and differences that existed. So Jackal Blood right here, who was kind of following me, and at the time I was like logging into people's boxes, trying to help them out through the written guide. He basically said, hey, you know, we need a, you know, why don't you program? And I'm like, oh God, the only thing I know is like TI calculator programming, you know, playing blackjack and all that other stuff. And so I have my battle here, and you know, D-Tech, right? Maybe a little bit better this time. I still could never say your username right. But she kept sending push requests about the encryption piece, and it was kind of driving me nuts, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm still learning all this other stuff. And plus, her situation complicated it, because we had to deploy different services. You probably remember this, but we had to deploy different services in order to, you know, make it work, because your part used encryption, mine uses unencryption. Then we're like, crap, what happens if the user switch? So I remember for many days we played back and forth trying to get this through. We utilized Slack for first communication, because we were kind of like talking through email a little bit, but Slack was very, very important, and we had a lot of users who started to come in it, kind of start overwhelming us. So we moved over to Discord, and Discord, I've had awesome mods that came in. The Discord right now we have is a version 2, but the first Discord became overwhelming because we just had way too many people asking way too many questions, and we couldn't get anything done. But you know, I do appreciate, you know, Pentagonos and others who came in there to assist us. And then we discovered Ansible. So basically, this mnemonic right here, it was very easy to decipher, because we already had a lot of the YMLs written up. So it was really understanding the structure of it. So it was really easy just to deploy it, because it was kind of the same YML format when deploying it. So it's a very good program. And plus, what I like about Ansible is it's very easy to research. Like, you can literally just go into Google and you could just type, like, let's say you want to use Ansible for a loop, right? So Ansible loops. It's very easy to find this information, so anybody can write anything. And one of our like Flickr rate, he just learned Ansible. I just kind of schooled him up. And you notice here, what Ansible does is it has kind of like a streamlined format, so you can pretty much write things out to the new users looking at this. You're probably like, what? I don't get it. But when you bash out a lot of functions, it will drive you crazy. So for example, like this is bash, but it's a menu. Certain things can drive you nuts. But what Ansible does, so if we look here, and let's look at something simple. Let's say we look at Tatuli. You know, this used to be Plex PY. This is all Ansible really is. It's like, hey, remove this container, which we talked about Docker. Hey, deploy the container. And here's the ports that you need. Here's the locations to expose the data. Here's the permissions. Here's the network. And with traffic, basically set it up like this, so people can type things out. And that's all really Ansible is. There's nothing really complicated. Anybody can learn it. So it's a great program. Well, not program, but I did some research on it. You know, Red Hat, I believe, bought them out. So this is very key, because basically it just kind of cut out a lot of the bashing. Next, we established the forms, because a lot of the information kind of got overwhelming from people. And the thing is, I wasn't as really much of a technical user yet, and still kind of limited in some form or fashion. So it allowed us to streamline and the questions and things that were being asked, because when you start getting people asking like crazy questions and you're not really that familiar with what they're talking about, you get overwhelmed. So you got to kind of like bookmark what's going on. We had Design Gears who came onto the project and helped us out with HTTPS. The HTTPS was a nightmare to work originally with Nginx. The reverse proxy works fine, but it can tend to lose certificates, and it depends. Some people have no problems with it, but it's just a pain to work with and require 2 different images. So Design Gears is he's pushed a lot of information to our project, and he like I said, he's a partner, and he's been doing a great job. And then Jacko Blood, he came here, and he was giving more advice on what to do and what to look at. And then we have Flicker Rate, who came here, and he was working on some crazy previous project, but anyways, I wish you'd have came a long time ago. You'd probably hear this Flicker Rate. But he's coming in adding like the super speed script. He has a refreshing view to advancing this project and suggesting overhauling the wiki. The thing is, I'm a knowledge manager prior in the past, so I liked his aspect of things. So basically, this is just like a demo interface of PlexGuide. It's changed a lot from this. This is version 5.044. We're at 6.065. It's a lot more streamlined than this, but it kind of gives you the ideas. Here's our credits. And then Flicker Rate made this awesome chart, which she was burning up on Data Hoarder. But, if you ever give this chart a chance, it tells like about a good 90% truth of what you'll go through, what you should be thinking about. Because the thing is, it's really your experience level on what you do. So if you don't know torrents and you don't use Usenet, this is going to be a lot to learn. If you don't understand much about domains, this can be a little bit, challenging to learn. But our goal is through documentation and through videos is to help you out. So again, this is just an introduction video. Like I said, you're not really learning much in this in particular, but it's just to say, hey, welcome to PlexGuide. Here's our project. And this is who we are. This is what we do. So obviously we have the forums here. We have our Discord. We have a changelog to help others understand what's going on. So we have a developer and beta version. But these are all changes marked in the past. And I do thank Bait for this, because he was the one kind of yelling at us like, hey, man, what's going on? Because at the time we didn't really have stable versions. It was kind of like just an active development. But by documenting the stuff, teammates, team members back and forth kind of know what's going on. And if there's something causing problems, we know what it is. So, for example, this isn't developer right now, but we stopped the deletion of domain upon forced upgrades. So there's various things that we do document. If you do choose to donate, it does help us. Like I said, the donations, we don't make any profit. It really does help with a lot of the hardware and costs. I do deploy cloud servers for team members to assist on the project. So if you have a few bucks to spare, it'd be great. I kind of ran up a joke. You'll probably see my signature name, but it says buy Miss Admin dinner, like no crap, to you guys who donated to that. It was kind of a joke, but it actually turned out great, because I only set it at 35 bucks, kind of like a month thing. And like, I really took my wife to dinner because, yeah, she could kind of tend to be angry, because, spending time on this project kind of takes away from her. So, when I took her out to dinner and I let the people know who bought it, she was very grateful for it, and again, it wasn't a great amount of money. It was the fact that people actually cared, because, the internet, it tends to be all out there. We do have our YouTube series here that you can check out. So, again, feel free to stop by anytime, chat with us, let us know what's going on. And again, we don't know everything in this project, but if you love to contribute, we'll teach you the basics and we'll help you out. And next thing you know, you can start pushing things like the creator. He developed right here, our guy who's hiding because he's been doing school, but he's responsible for the benchmark. And I taught him stuff over a few days and he just went crazy. Flicker Rate, very smart guy, didn't know as much programming, but I think what I was able to teach him probably in a day or two took me 3 months to absorb, but there wasn't really a lot of documentation. So anyways, I'm gonna stop blabbing. It's just an introduction video. Just do me a favor, there should be a globe icon. If you click that, you'll be able to subscribe to our page, our channel. And if you can like and you can compliment any of the other videos, it will definitely be great, because again, that information, doing those little things actually pushes up the videos and helps spread the knowledge to others. And I thank you for your time. All right, bye.